Welcome to Perspective Podcast. Josue here. We are in Atlanta. Wow.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. We made a trip all the way to Atlanta. I am here with Chase, Mr. Chase Brown. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be out here in Atlanta with some friends, being able to catch up and spend some time here. So how are you doing, man?
It's been great. The Atlanta drivers have been interesting. We've had one too many accidents. But other than that, it's been a fun time.
Whoa. We've seen one.
We've seen one too many accidents. Let me clarify that. But it's been a great time here.
Yeah. So yeah, we got an exciting episode for y'all today. We're here with some of our special friends here in Atlanta, and really excited to be able to talk about the organization and everything that we're doing out here. So we're with our buddy Chris Miller.
What's up?
And how you doing, man?
I'm great. I think life is just, it's life. It's, COVID, and we have 4 kids. One's 8 months, so we're trying to sleep train.
Yeah.
So, it's life of a father and life of just being here.
Yeah.
It's great, though.
Yeah, so good. And I'm grateful that all of y'all have given us a little time on your Saturday, where you're probably normally running around having some fun, to sit in here and hang with us. Grateful. And so, yeah, we're here. Just to give a little background. We're here with Chris, who is the founder of Be Compelled, which is a nonprofit here in the Atlanta area. And so, Chris, do you want to give a little background just on the nonprofit and everything like that?
Yeah. So our genesis story is, so myself and LB, aka Lawrence Brown is a real name, but if you on the streets, you call him LB. But yeah, so we started coaching about 3 years ago, and what we noticed was, so the Falcons had a flag football league, and within one day they had like 1,100 signups.
Wow.
It was just bananas. And so they had to shut everything down because they only had like 37 coaches. And so, as come from a biblical perspective, I think it's just true in any aspect of the world is, man, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few.
Yeah.
And so LB and I got together. It's like, hey, what if we can help control the laborers, help control the coaches? So you're going to hear from Coach Dowdell later on. But if we can put good men, good coaches in the positions of being coaches, and let us do that. And then therefore we can kind of control what is the narrative that's going to the team, what's the perspectives going to the team, and then how we can come alongside and help and build up young men in the city of Atlanta. And so from there, we took 2 Corinthians 5, may the love of Christ compel you. And so therefore we came from Be Compelled. And let's compel people to go forward. Let's compel people with the goodness of the gospel. Let's compel people just to have fun and build up as we go. And so therefore Be Compelled was born, and we've been rolling ever since.
Yeah, it's so good. And I've been really glad to be able to see everything that's been going on here and few years that you've been here. And so let's, I guess, first take an opportunity to be able to intro everyone that's here. And so YB, do you want to share? And then we can, or LB, excuse me.
That's fine. That's fine.
And then we can go down.
Depending what side of the street you at.
Right. Depending what side of the street. Well, good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, so I'm LB, like Chris said, started about 3 years ago. Me and Chris go back. I mean, way back. Like Tulsa 4 Flats back. But but seriously, just what he said, it was definitely a need. We both come from a coaching background, as well as just really having a heart for the youth. So as we began to be was planted here in Atlanta, man, it just became something that was we gravitated more towards. And not only, it wasn't hard to find here in Atlanta. I mean, they were there. I mean, there were kids there. And I mean, kids want to take their game to the next level, but it's always depending on the resources that they have, what they can afford, if they make it, what their structural background dynamics in their home look like. So me and Chris was able to, and I am one of the co-founders, we were able to partner together, look within some other leaders and organizations that was happening here in Atlanta, and just got together and say, man, we want to step up to the plate. We want to be those guys, the front runners to help spear that on. We want to be, whether that's coaching, mentor, but one of the main things, we want longevity. We want it to be, not in sports, it's a seasonal thing. But for us, it's, man, how can we provide like a lifelong relationship? We want it to be longer than that. And so, yeah, we had that opportunity, and here we are today. So,
Good. Awesome. You want to go?
I'm Darren Dowdell, former Grady Gray Knight. Graduated 2013. I went from there to play 2 years at Eastern Carolina University. And from there, transferred to Winston-Salem State University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's where I now play. But I met Chris through a good friend of mine, Emir. He came forth with me with the opportunity. He actually presented the fact that we would have an opportunity to just touch kids and just work with kids and help kids, show kids all the options there is around the city. Because growing up in the city of Atlanta, it's a lot of things that's thrown at you at a very young age. And based on, like my other coaches said, your dynamics at home, basically just your fundamental structure of your mentality, basically, that would determine a lot. And we just wanted to reach out to the kids and make sure they have something more than just sports, something that will, like Coach said, something that will last for a lifetime. And that's, after I heard that, I was all into it. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome.
So good. Yeah. You ready?
First name and last name.
Yeah. Let the people know who you are.
So my first name is Demetrius. Last name is Nelson. The middle school I go to is Hayville Charter Middle School, age 13. And position I play is quarterback. Favorite wide receiver is Michael. My son, that I call him. And that's really it about me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go. Michael.
Let's go, Michael.
Oh, yeah. My name is Michael Brown.
Okay, Michael.
I'm 13. I go to North Plain Middle School. I'm a wide receiver. Favorite player is Julio Jones. I look up to him. And, yeah, my favorite team is the Falcons. Oh, yeah, they gonna make it to the Super Bowl this year. I know it.
Rise up.
Yeah, rise up, Falcons.
Rise up, Falcons.
So good.
And just to kind of get it started for, I guess it would be more for the coaches. I know you guys kind of spoke about, the environment and things like that. And, we understand that football is such a seasonal sport, right? So in light of everything that's going on, well, first question I wanted to ask in terms of Be Compelled, is it a year-long thing or is it like just a period of time? Yeah. And then the second question is, how do you guys, with pandemic and everything going on, how did you guys kind of structure that?
Yeah. So no, that's a good point. So is it year long? So our main thing is this is a lifestyle. This is what we do. And so even before I got to Atlanta, LB was doing this with or without me. You know what I'm saying? And so he was leading the way. So a lot of times when I came in, it was just years of work that he already had done. So we have everything from football in the fall. Now we're moving some stuff with the Falcons to the spring. We did boxing last spring. We've done lacrosse kind of in the winter.
Shout out.
You know what I'm saying? So soccer. And then we had our summer camp. So this is the first time for our summer camp. That's how we got Coach Dowdell. But going along with that is this a seasonal thing? So Coach Dowdell was doing this before I met him. And so he was having kids in his front yard, working out, running. And so we just kind of grafted him on in. It's like, how do we give you some wind behind you, your sail? And so from that, so he kind of just kind of grafted in and just kind of kept moving. But also, he grew up here in Atlanta, born and raised. If you ask my old folks here in Atlanta, they'd say if they're a Grady baby or not, But yeah, so that you want to speak on, like, what is it like to grow up in the city of Atlanta? You said a lot of things get thrown at you. What are some of those things?
Yeah, man, I think that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, growing up in the city, my parents were born and raised here. Father born and raised in Techwood. I was actually born in a neighborhood called Thomasville Heights. My parents, they was rather quick to move me from the city, but I still ended up going to the elementary, middle school, and high school in the city. But just overall, growing up in the city, you have a lot of exposure to a lot of things that most young people don't have in other cities or states, from people to places to just things you can do. And at a young age, everything seems cool to grow up fast. It seems cool to experience more than what you're ready for. But realistically, it's only about a handful of kids that's actually ready to grasp that. So
Right.
basically, what I try to do is, cause me growing up, I got in my handful of troubles. I did what I had to do to get myself out of the troubles, but a key thing that I try to focus, not just training, but anytime I'm around a kid, is to figure out how can I avoid the mistakes that I made, like through them. So like from things to just places I used to hang out at when I was younger, Cascade Skatering. Everybody wanted to go to Cascade every weekend. I used to get angry at my parents because every Sunday, like literally every Sunday, like clockwork, my friends would, hey, come on, you're coming. I only went probably like every once a month, probably, if that. So little things like that, just being productive and being time management, controlling your time and being as productive as you can, and really as young as you can, try to focus on your niche and just run toward that. Give your all towards that. And that's one thing I just try to spread through the kids. That's why I became a part of this.
Yeah, and that's so good. I've been reading, I don't know if y'all have read this book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And it's basically his study of those who, success stories, and what were some common trends that happened through a lot of them. And, he looked at anyone from like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, to hockey players that are super successful. And one of the things they saw was a lot of it started young, like the work ethic and opportunities and everything. And so it's been really great to be able to see y'all giving these friends an opportunity to be able to play these sports and have mentoring at a young age. And so I want to give y'all opportunity to share what has been some things that LB and Darnell has been able to teach you, and what's been some fun things you've been able to do with them.
Some good things they be able to teach me is like when I was with the Bellwood Falcons and they interviewed me, like when I first started working out with him, like my stance, my route running was not good at all. But then like when we got to the third, second week, it started getting better and I was like perfect at them and I was doing good. And like at the camp, like we have fun, like we do good things like for the kids and stuff. That's just good.
Yeah. You want to go? All good, no worries.
No worries at all. LB, did you want to answer that second question that I posed about the pandemic and kind of how that's looked like for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So y'all in Atlanta, it's raining. Yeah. One of the first things y'all said was traffic. One of the things that y'all haven't been able to see is just the density. It's so dense. So think about all those scenarios and things that y'all just said. Now imagine you're in these environments and neighborhoods where, kids don't want to be in a house like that. Right. You know what I'm saying? But then some saying, well, COVID, don't go out. You drive down the street, you drive down blocks, you cannot see a rim on a basketball court anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So just things like that, that's a lot. That's a tough. Think about the psychological standpoint where you even got Coach right here who's saying, we come from backgrounds where we just trying to get out the house. Right. And when you living in a house, it may be your whole family. You may have 10 to 15 people living in a Section 8 home. We're trying to, parents want them out. They tired of them. Kids trying to find something to do. So that's where we're able to step in. And we leave it open. Like he said, it's not more so just about sports, but even exploring as you navigate, what is that thing? What could it be? It could be nature. You know what I'm saying? So Chris have gathered up 15, 20 kids just to enjoy and breathe nature. It can be bike rides, no matter what, but just giving them an opportunity to be around other godly role model men and coaches and other people that don't just, say they do this, but we look like them. We share some of those same stories and we can have those compelling moments like, man, you're not a product of your current situation. You're more than that. And, so in this pandemic and in this season, we've been able and parents at first was like, well, nah, y'all gonna have, do this or that. But they're beginning to buy in and realize, well, there's no sports season. There's no, but these guys are still coming. You mean you're gonna take my kid to the
Right,
yeah?
right.
We're gonna exactly do that because it's not just a transact. I have to say this. So for me, being an athlete, and I'm sure these athletes can contest to this, our biggest heart and pour over for this because it's always been in the sports world transactional. Like you do this for me, in return, I can get this.
Right.
But if you don't do that, you're probably not going to get that scholarship. You're probably not going to start. We're probably not going to send you. So it's all this, do this for me, I'll do this for you.
Right.
Well, in these dynamics, some of these, they already starting off at a disadvantage and they're used to being like, oh, you ain't going to be nothing or you ain't going to do this. We don't want that transactional type relationship. So what we want to do is the same as Christ does is show unconditional love, regardless of what the outcome or those circumstances are. We're here with you. So in this pandemic, these kids right here are going to have, this is history. They'll have something to tell and how they were able to navigate and journey through that while also having good role models around them.
I actually have a follow-up questions for the coaches, and then I'll pass it on to Chase. Can you kind of you're speaking about how parents want, kids to be at the house and playing and all those different things. But from you guys' point of view, can you speak about the reward that you, on a personal level, that you receive just from giving your life, to something like this?
Yeah. The kids, for me, man, and it is definitely a reward. Another thing you'll see driving around, you see the kids selling water. You see the entrepreneurship. Well, with that, you also hear, and I'm not saying it's bad nor good or whatever is going on, there's a lot of different things that goes on with that as well. They're trying to shut that down, Things that they try to cohabitate, that they try to make an entrepreneur there. Now they're asking these kids, do you have a license to sell? Well, that's $600 to go get a license to sell some water. They're not even going to probably make $600 in a day. Yeah. So, man, I guess the reward for us is just being able to help them learn and realize the entrepreneur stands from that. And Chris, I'm sure he'll touch on it here in a little bit, but in our labor and learn, these guys had the opportunity not just to work hands-on with lawn care equipment and, just to have that tangible work ethic, but, they were able to get a check, make deposits. I remember a story one time, you're talking about a kid that's about to get ready to go to college. Hakeem, he'll be here later. He's about to be 19. Yeah. 18, 19, go to college, don't know about checks and balances, don't know about credit. I remember he stopped me in work one day and was like, man, I had positive, now I'm negative. All these things help me out. Like, we need to go to the bank. I was like, no, just pull up your mobile app. Let me show you how to use it. Yeah. So that in itself, it's like, they never been in the bank. So this is what it looks like. Oh, we talked to the teller. Oh, this is the banker. This is what you got to do. Oh, your checks can bounce. Or even though I may think I have it, I got to look and see my transact. All of these things are so, and to us, it's nothing, right? Because we're in it. But he's 19. These are things that, even these kids and our younger kids will be able to learn. So that's the reward. I mean, we're trying to, something that it took us a while to obtain, to be able to give it to them now. Right. And so that is the financial illiteracy program that we have that has been really rewarding, and they're able to smile and, cut checks and save up. That they'll talk about saving a lot. I think I overheard them talking, and even with my son is I got an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old. They was talking about stocks and bonds and all of these different things. I'm like, okay, wow. Some things I don't even know about because my wife teaches them all that. But anyway, still, that's good to know. Right, so they can keep up in the conversation with that.
Yeah, and I love that because that's something that is never taught at schools. And I'm sure with parents just trying to make ends meet, like maybe not having the time to be able to just teach that to their kids, everything like that is super valuable for y'all to be able to step in and teach that. Darnell, you got anything you want to add, man?
Yeah, I got a couple things. The biggest reward I say would be between the memories and the opportunities that the pandemic has created from just further development between the kids, just further instilling things like tenacity or resilience or things that they're actually going to be able to benefit from later on in the life when something unfortunate or uncontrollable just, you know what I'm saying, is placed
Yeah.
on them. So I got that's the biggest reward I can think of.
Yeah, so good. And then kind of one more question for y'all, and then I think we'll go into the camp part. For y'all, what has been something this summer? Because this summer is something that was really out of the ordinary that none of us alive had ever seen. What was something that y'all were able to do with the coaches, either a lesson that you learned or just an opportunity that y'all were able to have that like wouldn't have been there because of the pandemic without them? You got something?
Me. Like in that interview, like I said, was like that we get this chance and like out of a lifetime because like nobody else in the world, like kids like us, ever got that chance to like pull the train horn at the Atlanta Falcons. And like that was really cool, like for us to do and like celebrate and be happy.
And then be on the Jumbotron too. Get the video and picture taken and be up on there.
Oh yes,
That's so cool.
Yes, that too. That too.
Yeah.
And like when I had said like no children like get to do this, like my brother, he don't get to do this. Like all sisters and brothers, they don't get to do this, only us. Like we happy like to be with the coaches and be with this organization. They did something good for us.
Yeah, that's so good. You got anything you want to add?
My answer is like the same thing as his. So I really have nothing.
Yeah, that's still so cool though. So, Chris, did you have anything that y'all wanted to add to that before we move to camp?
Yeah, so I mean, as you hear, like, hey, pulling a train horn, here's an event. So just even doing our research. So there's three things that kind of brings, certain kids out of certain neighborhoods, out of certain economic backgrounds. And one is education, the second is contacts, and the third is exposure.
Yeah.
And so part of what we do at Be Compelled is like, we're going to put you around people. Like we say, hey, we're going to hang out and work out with Darius Norwood,
Yeah.
I mean, who's an NFL player. So someone who's given time, who just connected on a personal level. And then for education, we're working towards education. How do we come alongside schools? Like we did stuff with a middle school this year, which was dope for a faith-based organization to be led into a middle school to be coaches. That's a whole nother gamut. But it's the beautiful thing of exposure. Right. Like now we're doing something that we've never thought we'd ever do, or would be somewhere in a place that we never thought we would be at. And so if that's just the one step, then what's the second step? What's the third step? Then what's almost expected for you to be exposed to and to be around? So I'm expected to do great things. And so that's what we want to leave for them. It's like, hey, listen, you're great. Man, you're wonderful. You're beautiful. This is how God made you. So we're expecting great things out of you. So that's part of the exposure piece.
Yeah. And I think expectations, like having that set really, one, I think raises the standard for like the kids and the students in the community, but then as well, like it gives them a goal to strive for, of which without that, I think we just kind of naturally as kids would just kind of be wandering and just kind of like being aimless in a way. And so being able to have those expectations, something to strive for, something to meet for, and then having a mentor figure or a father figure, brother figure, being able to be like, hey, I'm proud of you because you met this expectation, you succeeded, is like so powerful.
Yeah. So one part about camps is that so even though COVID separated a lot of people, but brought a lot of people together. And so with COVID, so we know everybody's parents kind of know one another. And so what this does is this allows us to build communities. Yeah. And so so when you would trust your kid with a coach, 2 to 3 times a week. And so now we're going from house to house. I mean, that's building community. Over on our east side, so we have a cluster of families over there where moms come pick up the kids and coaches. And I mean, we started cutting hair and coaches would make haircut runs by the house. So it's just this idea of COVID can push you apart or it can bring you together. And so we allow COVID to bring us together. And so this is one of the dope parts about the summer.
That's
You got one thing you want to add?
that's another part. I agree with Chris on totally. It's a perspective thing in my belief. Like this whole pandemic thing. Like some people chose to separate themselves, and man, I don't have nothing against that, but this pandemic really created a lot of opportunities. It opened a lot of doors, and it's up to us to capitalize on it.
Yeah. What did you want to add, Michael?
Oh, well, when he was like talking about the stocks and funds.
Yeah.
Like what I was going to say about that, like since I think it's my first school I had went to since Thomasville Heights Elementary, 4th grade. That's why I was kind of like learning, getting into like stocks and funds. And like when we got to the 5th grade, I learned about it, like because it was like when we were going back through history, talking about like when people didn't have money and they had to use stocks, funds, and loans, like to really get things, then had to pay it back. Then when I got in 6th grade, that's when like I all started getting better at knowing what stocks and funds was. So like shout out North Clay Middle School and Northcutt. Good job for teaching me that.
So good.
Yeah, so what Coach was saying, it definitely has brought unity. But most importantly, I think it begins to shape character. Growing up, one of the biggest things for me, and I would, knowing my friend's story and stuff, identity was huge. You know what I'm saying? Identity was huge. Who are we? What are they saying who we are? Like, who is telling and writing this narrative? You get what I'm saying? But on another note, what we can do and operate, we can bring forth dignity in who you are as that build character, and you will begin to believe and you begin to know that the story creator, that's who's writing my narrative, and that's the Lord himself. And so I think that those components within itself brings forth a lot of power in their future and endeavors,
Yeah, so good. So I think at this point we wanted to move to camp, talk a little bit about that, and talk a little bit about some of the experience. And so I wanted to give y'all an opportunity to first share what y'all were able to do at camp and some of the things y'all were able to do there. And then y'all be able to fill in anything that they kind of forget from there. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I go first. So the first day we had went to camp was like when we had first met Coach Darren. That was like the first day. He was like, we was outside throwing the football around, playing one-on-one for a little bit. Yeah.
It was like 3 days after.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Yeah, because I got signed up in there.
Yeah, it was the next day.
Yeah.
It was the next day after we had like got signed up. That's when we like started coming together. Then like when we first got to the camp, that's when I met Pat, I met Coach Amir, I met and all the other coaches. Like we had fun. Like the first thing we were able to do, play football, go on the field, have fun, and like spend that day with friends and kids that was at the camp. And like one thing like that was really fun, like I think to all the kids that was at the camp, we went to God Farm. Like cause everybody was enjoying the kayaking, and like when they was getting in the pool, I know they enjoyed it. And like we had fun today. Everybody had fun and enjoyed the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never been before. That was my first time.
Yeah. Y'all got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, so God Farm was dope. So God Farm is kind of on the west side of Georgia, and it's a guy who said, "Hey, let's take land and make it where kids can come." So we did kayaking, canoeing. Some did fishing. We got on a basketball court. Archery. There's archery. There's zip lines. We didn't get to do everything, but I mean. Yeah, berries. They're growing squash, watermelons, everything. So, like we said, get outside, get in nature. So, man, see what God has created. So, but we also played basketball and football. We got in the pool. People had dunk contests. So it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how much fun can you have out in the country with your friends? And coaches were good sports. They got splashed. But, you know, it was great. So God Farm was one of the huge pushes. And we also did a waterfall trip. So that was early in the summer. So we took kids to the waterfall. If you ever seen kids who are always in the city get underneath a waterfall and just sit and rest and just kind of be taken in. And it was probably one of the dopest things. I think this is probably the thing that I look back and say, man, thank you God for letting me be a part of it. Right. Just watching them just be in the midst of it. I asked them, hey, what's the only down part about the trip? They was like, we left too soon, you know. So that was fun. It was great.
So what's the vision for the camp? And are you taking all the students with you to camp, or just as many as you can, or how do you guys go about that?
Yeah, you want to answer the vision, or you want?
Oh, I was gonna say something else.
Huh?
I was gonna say something else.
Okay, so now and I answer your question.
Okay.
What I was gonna say that was like the latest day was like the last day we was there. Like we had all fun enjoying that last day when we was there. Like he was also there too, and we had fun. He was in backflips and stuff.
No, pointing to Calvin, the cameraman.
Yeah.
He's more than
But
a
like
cameraman.
but I still don't know how to hit a backflip. But it was cool how he was hitting them and recording. But yeah, it was like fun that day.
You know, and fun is part of the nature of the camp. So one, we want to get kids together. It started off with 4 kids, and it grew into almost 30. And we had to turn some kids away because we want to keep a ratio of kids and coaches to a minimum point where you can take them in your car and you can build those relationships. Because once you get to a point too far, then you become managing instead of mentoring. So we always want to see that line of mentoring versus managing. And so between that and camp, we want to let them use their athletic skills, burn energy. So there are some battles out there. So one-on-ones, football, flag football. I mean, we have temper tantrums, kids being passionate. And so if we can't come alongside and teach and encourage how do we handle this in the most positive light possible and enjoy being here, enjoy competing, and that was part of our hope. So using the skills that God's given us to be able to take it and cultivate it and mature it the best we could for the summer. So,
one more. Yeah. Like one of the best moments I had there when I caught that crazy one-hand catch, but I was out of bounds.
You still caught it though.
Yeah, I caught it.
Yeah, that's what counts.
I caught it.
I want to ask a question for the coaches, and this is probably for parents or just people that are curious. What is your approach to the kids that are a little bit more, whether they're a little bit more difficult or a little bit more reserved, or just how do you balance dealing with different kids, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like we said earlier, it's more of the relationship, building up that rapport. Different kids come, have different backgrounds and different personalities. Absolutely. Man, we've seen kids that have kind of came in and out. It may not be what they feel like is best. Hold on, how can I say this? Make sure I say, they know it's best for them. So it's one of those things like, this is going on, I have this happening. But until we're able to have a conversation or a ride home in those good moments of one-on-one times or 2-on-3 times, whatever those are, those ride backs, we're able to hear what's going on. I've been bullied. Or this is what's going on in this situation. So now we're able to really get to the meat of what's going on and begin to have those conversations and help them kind of set the framework into, those defining moments in their lives, and they begin to open up. And then, we may have, I was talking with Chris the other day, in these areas, And as the neighborhoods begin to change and gentrification is happening, and they're off on the other side of town, and you don't see them in a while. However, we're still calling. We're catching up with them. That and their parents. Hey, they haven't seen you in a while. My son, kids would love to see you. When are y'all doing this? So that door, because again, it's lifelong. It's always open. It's not a situation where you mess up, you're out. But we're definitely going to keep everyone safe.
Right.
And you're being safe to others and safe to self. But we try to give some leeway and really help these kids in that area. That was a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll add one thing real quick, and we go to you, Darnell. I really love that because I think like what you said about like this is about mentoring. I can't remember what the exact quote was, but basically this is about mentoring rather than being transactional or manager. Yeah, exactly. I love that because that creates the trust that's necessary to be able to then understand what's actually going on in the kids and the students' lives. And I feel like so much of the church now, or just nonprofits in general, are so concerned about growing as much as they can, where they lose that personal element in a way.
Yeah.
And then anything that could be gained from that extra layer of depth, like, is no longer there. And so it's so good that y'all are being intentional about preserving that and going from there. But yeah, anything you want to add, Darnell?
Yeah, I got something. I would have to say, touch base on what Coach LB said. Just establishing a relationship with the kids, because every kid is developed differently. Every kid has different flaws or different strengths, and our goal as coaches in establishing a relationship, we want to balance out. Like we don't want one kid to be shy to talk in public and the rest of them not to be. We're gonna try to boost up that kid, find new ways, or pull them to the side and ask them, hey, why are you shy? Like what in fact are you actually scared of? Like, so yeah, just based on Coach said, the relationship, that's the key. You have to understand the child before you have to criticize or try to critique in any way.
Yeah, that's so good. So I want to give y'all one opportunity to share any lessons or anything that y'all took away from camp that you think helps you with either school or life or sports or anything like that. I know learning how to catch a ball one-handed is something, but maybe something other than that could be good. So
What I took from camp is like, cause I'm not gonna lie, like in school I used to be like kind of mean, but like when I took from camp, like I stopped being mean. I started getting nice, like helping people, things like that. Cause it was like this one time I was in 5th grade, and like I seen, like we was coming from a field trip. I seen the homeless man, and like I gave him my food. Then like, yeah, like just to help him. It was good.
yeah, it's good to be nice like that. You got something you want to add?
The one thing I would say is like just being nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good because that's important to be nice. So
Oh yeah, one more thing. Like what I also took from camp is that like helping each other, like if like another classmate or like somebody like on your camp or something, like if they be mad, like help them, try to make them like get happy, like brighten his day, things like that.
yeah, that's so good. What, LB?
I think what's cool and what's awesome as well. So I mentioned earlier, I'm a father of three boys, 10, 8, 12. And, even sometimes having to distinguish the different roles. You got dad the trainer, dad the coach, dad the dad, and all of that. But how do you navigate all these different roles and still have a unconditional love, no matter if you play sports, no matter what you do? Hey, I love you, right?
Yeah.
So there has been times, it's been a little difficult, and I could call, I'll call Chris, and they see Chris as Uncle Chris, but he's a trainer, coach as well, just like us, and like, hey man, talk to him. Yeah, I'm gonna have a conversation with him. And then, my sons are able to open up more with Chris. So it may not even be that, I may have the relationship or rapport with my guy over here to the left, but Coach Chris or Coach Dodell, it's totally different. So having the hands on deck and the other, mentors and guys that are able to, with the different personalities and how they mesh has been very helpful, even as a parent, that's good. That's been helpful.
Awesome. I think I wanted to ask one more question.
Yeah.
So this is for the coaches. How do you guys balance egos, I guess, among coaches, right? In terms of, somebody wanting this or this or this. Does that make sense? Is that something you guys kind of see?
Yeah, of course. Everybody know I'm the fastest, the strongest. No, I'm just playing. I just wanted to throw that out there. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Right. Go.
He's so humble. He's so humble.
I just wanted to add the comment. Go ahead. Go there.
Basically, I just try to focus on the kids, put the kids first. Step outside of your feelings and just focus on the bigger picture. Because it's always a box within a box, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you step out of one box, you're going to realize you're in a whole nother box. So that's probably all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
And to even piggyback off that, like, we're learning too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're learning from the kids. I've learned a lot from Chris and Coach as well. We don't come into this situation, like prideful. I'm a Houston Rockets fan. Rockets still trying to figure it out. Yeah. They're a very good team, but they're trying to figure it out. Same thing. I see us as being a great, amazing team that as life go and as we're in it and in the trenches, we're figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think we got some of the best men here in Atlanta, and as these kids grow up, they will be able to move it forward, pay it forward, and so forth.
So, like I like to say, we like fine wine, man. We get better with time.
That we do. And I think the added bonus is that we try to recruit good coaches, like genuine good people, good men. On the other hand, so we have a couple other coaches. So AJ, I got a call from mom. She was like, "Hey, thank you so much." I was like, "For what?" She's like, "AJ took KJ and Joel out to Ruby Tuesdays, and he just did it out of his own pocket. He's not in his intern position right now. He's like, this is my relationship that's built into him. I didn't tell him to do it. I didn't encourage him to do it, but he did it. And so with that, I mean, we want to encourage more than compete. You know what I'm saying? We want to push and congratulate more than have a competition. And so we try to put good people around us, and it's fun. It's fun. If you want to work with good people, you hire good people, you work with good people, you have fun together. Yeah.
I love it so much. And I just want to say, like Chris, knowing you since Denton, Texas, things like that.
Mean Green.
And then LB going there. I didn't know you in Denton,
that's cool,
but
man.
you were there. Just being able to see, you and your family move out here and not just be spectators, but be intentional about getting involved in the community. And because a lot of people, I think, when moving to a new place, they can kind of just be casual for a little while. I want to get used to it. I want to have my kids kind of get ingrained in the community, then get involved. But you were intentional about it from the start, and it's so good, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's been fun. I mean, there's some learning curves. Atlanta's it's different. It's a different dialect in Atlanta.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? From Dallas, but at the end of the day, there's still needs. There's still friendships to be developed, and the Lord has us on a mission, and we're having fun in the process.
That's so good. So I'll give y'all opportunity. Y'all have any last things y'all want to share about camp or what coaches have meant to you, anything like that?
Hold on. Can I ask a different way?
Yeah.
What does Coach Dowdell mean to you?
Mean to me is sometimes he be doing too much.
True.
But other than that, I'd call him sometimes just to talk for no reason. Just do that. Yeah. Sometimes, really, to me, he like an older brother to me.
Yeah.
Just somebody to look out for. That's it.
Yeah, so good. You got anything you want to add? Last thing?
Well, anything I want to
add is that like I call him like since he a wide receiver like he can teach me like wide receiver things, like so I can like be the best in like middle school, then like killing them in high school. Like nobody would be able to like guard me, nothing like that. I could be like Julio Jones, like how he got his nickname Waffle House. I always be open, man. Like, but like yeah, what he said, he like a big brother, like look out for. All that he do good things for us. Like you had said with Coach KJ, like he had took us out like this one time, like to go to like I think it was Pinstripe, like took us out because we like had a good week and like did some good workouts and we like had fun. We having the best times.
Thanks for y'all.
Can I actually ask you guys a question? I mean, maybe I don't know if this could be like a wrap-up question, I guess, for them if they want to. On the micro or macro scale, could you kind of speak about the impact of the organization since you guys have been here that you've kind of seen or heard about feedback or anything like that?
That's a good question.
Great question.
Yeah.
Amazing question.
Yeah. And so on a macro level, and so I'm a board member of the West Side Falcons. Shout out to Ralph Clinton, who started it a while ago, and he just loves the community. And so last year we had 850 kids come through the West Side Falcons. And so we help supply coaches, we help supply jerseys and everything else. And out of that 850 kids, we had 250 that we kind of helped stepped into a middle school and kind of took over a part of that middle school after school program. And so for those kids, man, we're making sure kids get home. We're making sure kids get fed a little bit. And we're doing it with college students too. So, and then if you drop down from that 250, and then we had Peace Prep, which LB was the athletic director for years. So we had those kids also. And that's almost a co-parenting relationship in some aspects. So from a macro level, you're looking at almost 1,000 kids that we're touching in a positive way of giving them exposure of just doing sports, but not just doing sports, but putting great coaches around them. Hopefully, it become like big brothers in aspect. And then on a micro level, is that we're getting college students and they're changing their environment of where they come from. And so it's like one household at a time, it's one kid at a time, but it's also. He's going to have more responsibilities as they get older. As of now, if Dardell, Amir, AJ, my man Pat, Miles, and other coaches, if they do it now in their early 20s, what are their 30s going to look like? What are they going to look like when they're 50? Like, what are the impact from that? And so if we can get them now and get them plugged into the system and get them loving and pouring out, then in 30 years, it's going to be dangerous of what good can happen. And so that's the micro and macro that we see, and that's our hope of we want to compel people to go forward. We want to compel the next generation to be better than what we are. And we want to give them exposure that where they can make it. And by God's grace, he's going to see it through.
Yeah. So good. Y'all have anything I want to add?
Man, he answered it well. Well, I don't even have nothing to add, But I do remember, I can tell you this. I remember we were sitting with a potential donor who was willing, to give. And, his big thing was numbers. How many can y'all get? Can you get this many? Can you get this many kids? Because, you want to impact, And we're thinking the whole time, well, we're just in English Avenue. We can get you with our kids and English Avenue, we can get you about a good 40. 45, 50. But to now, it's something that has spread it all over. Yeah. Our kids in Hapeville, our kids in South Atlanta, in these neighborhoods. So now what is it going to bring? Talking with a guy, he even got some in Stone Mountain. So what it's going to do is bring together not just hope for, this particular area, but we're talking we can do in the larger scale and the partnerships. We're talking with guys that, we've met a great guy that's at a Black university, Tuskegee. Mm-hmm. He's a tennis player, coach, all that. So even with him wanting to partner and do something as well. But, I really give credit to these coaches because my guy Coach Dowdell, I mean, he's still playing football, you know? And I could just remember after you train, watch film, do your work, you know, you can go around campus. How do you even find the extra time, let alone, you know, your job?
Energy.
Your day is so compact. So what Chris is saying, man, it takes heart, you know, to have guys, and you don't find them often, but when you do, you keep those guys around because we're able to feed off of one another, and not just feed, but we're able to build off of one another. And that's why I believe and feel that Be Compelled is going in the right direction. What the back of the shirt say?
Be compelled, baby.
Oh, this is not the one compelled to change. All right. Yeah, front and back. Compelled to change. So we're able to make the long-lasting impression, and we're compelled to change within, you know, the organization. So that's
Man.
Yeah, coaches, they pretty much summed it up. But one thing I would like to touch on, one thing that this camp has been able to do, for example, if I have an image, if I have an opportunity to pave a whole concrete avenue that's destined to at the end of that is a guaranteed contract to the Atlanta Falcons, and I can within that avenue I can tell you every step to take. Then I've done something right. Like in a way, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just give kids new avenues to choose from. And like Coach said, yeah, it get exhausting sometimes, but my vision and like my passion and like really the bigger picture that I see, that most of the time that give me a little boost. Cause it's been days where I done fell asleep in class and one of my teammates got to wake me up, but it's worth it. I can see how it's going to pay off and why it's paying off, and also why I'm doing it. So
I love it. And I think that's a great ending note, just being able to be here to create as many opportunities for them to choose as possible, and creating the structure around them for them to make good choices, be able to have a good environment around them to support them, encourage them, everything like that. And I think I speak for both of us, just continue in what you're doing. Yeah. Like, God's doing great things through y'all. These two kids are a testament to that, with the stories they shared and how much fun they've had with y'all. And I guess, Chris, just to give you the opportunity, just if anyone wants to find the organization, anything like that, you want to plug any contact information for donations or communication?
Yeah, so you can find us online at Be Compelled, but it's a letter B and then Compelled at .org. And you can see stories, you can follow stuff that we did for the summer, but you can also give. We are looking for teammates. The teammates help us to help supply our coaches, help get us resources, help us take trips, help us give these exposure items for our kids so they can succeed. And so we love teammates. So you're not just a donor or a giver, you're a teammate. And so becompelled.org, but just a letter B. Then also you can find us on Instagram, and that's Be Compelled, BE, then Compelled. Leave a comment, follow us.
That'll be good. And we'll link all your information down in the description as well. Josue, you have any last things you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, just with what Chase was saying, you guys this is definitely like a ministry that you guys are doing. And so continuing in that and just believing that the Lord will continue just to provide even more and more and more. Mm-hmm. I love that verse that says that a good name is better than fine gold. So parents hearing different testimonies, it brings about a good name, things like that people can rely on, right? I'm like, wow, these coaches are men of character and all these different things. So I just want to encourage you guys in that. And I enjoyed the conversation and just hearing everything else.
Yeah,
and it was so good. And again, thank y'all all for the time. Be able to come sit with us, taking time out of y'all's Saturday to sit here. And I hope just through this, y'all were able to just know and just have confidence that like people care about your thoughts, people care about your perspective, and your voice is powerful. Like being able to speak up about something is good. So keep up everything that y'all are doing. Yeah. Keep it up.
Yeah, man, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming and listening and hearing our journey. So
that was good. Well, that'll be a wrap.
All right. Appreciate it.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning into this episode. As said, all the information for Be Compelled is listed down in the description below if you'd like to support them and the work they're doing in Atlanta. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. So until next time, much love and God bless.